So, folks, this is another episode part of the Global Speaker series, wherein we are featuring guests from multiple countries across the globe. And our guest for today is LYNDSAY WHITBY from Luxembourg. He is passionate and driven to help people from all walks of life, either through his coaching skills or training and development. And he wishes to contribute in any magnitude towards making this world a better place. In fact, this resonates with our mission of making this world a better place to live through valuable conversations. And LYNDSAY also believes that learning and self-awareness are the foundations on which to establish such a vision. And as we prepare to delve into our conversation on the topic at hand, healing the body and achieving personal growth, here is an exciting twist. Let us tickle the brain of our guest first. So LYNDSAY, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. Are you ready for it?
It's going to be.
All right, so let's dive in. And here comes my first word, curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
Understanding the self.
Invention.
Evolution.
Future.
Hope.
Success.
Healing.
Book.
The body keeps the score.
Movie.
Creed 3.
Creed 3. Food.
Healthy food.
Health.
Healthy food. My body is my temple.
Technology.
Phone.
And the last one is healing.
The self.
Awesome. So LYNDSAY, thank you so much for participating in the rapid fire round. The first one so sportively, and we have one more round towards the end of the episode, so stay tuned. And friends, welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. I'm your host Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place through valuable discussions that add value not only to your life but also to your career. And thank you so much for tuning in. LYNDSAY, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice. How are you today?
I'm fantastic, Naveen, and I love your energy. It's really, really great. So thank you for that.
Thank you, and I love your speed. It matches with my speed in terms of the way we have scheduled this. Right, it all happened in a jiffy, and I love that spirit. And thank you so much, first of all, for accepting my invite and for being part of this show. I really appreciate it, LYNDSAY. So, without further ado, let's get into our conversation. And let's start with your success mantra. So please share with our audience the top 3 things that have attributed to your success so far.
So my success so far would be growth mindset. I've cultivated a really strong growth mindset, my personal development, and my ability to open my heart.
Wow. Superb. You nailed it. And
whether this is right or wrong, but this is just very personal for me. So.
Awesome. I love it. And please share a personal experience or turning point that ignited your passion for healing and personal development, because you are touching one of the most important aspects of this current time. The world needs healing, right? So what is the turning point?
I have 2. I don't know how to distinguish which one is more important than the other, so I'll just briefly keep both of them. Mm-hmm. The first turning point was the birth of my first daughter, Sophia, in 2017 in February. That was very pivotal for me because I wasn't in a good place, emotionally especially. Physically outside was good, but inside I was really coming to my boiling point. And the second very transformative point for me was getting fired from aviation, something I had worked in for 22 years. One day it came to an abrupt end, and this was a real pivotal explosion in me to find something better inside. So those 2.
I can totally resonate with you, and I think these kind of layoffs are going to happen more frequently than ever going forward with the advent of this artificial intelligence, because as per the study, what the experts are saying, that the adversities of ChatGPT and the generative AI are going to have a huge impact in the next 2 to 3 years. So yeah, I can resonate with you in terms of we are contributing something and suddenly all of a sudden they say, yeah, you have no job, right? So I've personally gone through that myself as well. LYNDSAY, now let's talk about the relationship between healing the body and achieving peace and harmony with oneself. So how do you perceive this?
Naveen, somehow on my journey and the things I've discovered, maybe my purpose, maybe my childhood conditioning, a lot of factors I guess come into somebody's life and evolution. I don't know if there's anything more important than understanding the body and learning how to regulate the nervous system. And something we see more than ever, and I was listening as I drove my daughters to school and back to come meet you, I found this reel on YouTube, and it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he was speaking about how we are living in the safest time ever.
Yeah.
With less killings than ever, with less crime than ever, no matter how much it's perceived through the media. Because he gave some statistics from times back. And in the last 30 years, 27 of those 30 years, people have said they feel more unsafe than ever. So this is bringing an awareness to how much we are dysregulated from our body and how much we can get fear from outside. And that fear may not be as fearful as it intends to be. Our bodies will interpret that more so because of our inability to regulate our nervous. And we're seeing it now. We're so dependent on technology, on doctors, on everything outside of us, except this beautiful natural intelligence that is still more sophisticated than anything we've ever studied, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's my philosophy, that this and this, when we synchronize these two, there's not much it can't do for itself. There are things that we need more modern medicine for there. It has its beautiful gifts and we've come a long way. But when we aren't able to self-regulate, which is something so difficult, we feel a lot of our internal conditioning, we become susceptible to anything external that we perceive as a threat. And there's lots to prove that we are more dysregulated than ever, and that highlights our addiction rates, our need for alcohol, our need to project everything outside of us, how social media has taken over so many people. It's just showing we don't have any more autonomy. So we are being controlled from the outside, and this is causing a huge dysregulation.
It makes absolute sense. And now let's talk about the self-awareness part of it. So please share with our audience some examples of how self-awareness has made a significant difference in your life or the lives of those who you have worked with.
So something that I do my best to market is how when you get connected to your body, when you heal a lot of the things that are deep in the subconscious, you find a new way of automatically being, because we're automatically being a certain way. We're being run by the internal program that's created in childhood, and as we reinforce that as we grow up. But when you become more self-conscious, more self-aware, when you learn to regulate the things that are dysregulating you, you find a new organic way of being. And then you can notice when your emotions are overtaking you. You can notice when fear is coming in and how that fear is start working on taking over because the system wants to adhere to it due to something that it already resonates with. And you can now start learning how to, okay, is this mine or is not mine? And you find a sense of energy comes from within, and a sense of self-worth and a sense of peace comes from within that you never know you have until you learn how, like any muscle, until you do repetitions and grow it. Same with the emotional component. Until you learn to regulate these things, you don't know that they are as strong as they can be because you've never learned to be with them, learned to regulate them, learned to exercise them. And in the second part of your question, how this is effective outside of me is the more I'm good in me, the more I can be good with other people organically. I don't need to come say, I like you, Naveen, you're a great guy, which is the truth. You will feel organically from me a good energy that you resonate with, because emotional transfer is more profound than we acknowledge, right? You feel something more than you actually acknowledge it. But when you don't know how to feel, or when you have 20 blockages, it's like a radio station that's not quite in tune. You'll hear, but you'll be static everywhere, right? So your feelings are trying to go, but there's too much static drowning out. How do I feel? And what do I want to do with that? And so the happier and stronger I become, not happier, but the more at peace I become, the more when I'm around people, especially in my work, the more I transmute that. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the analogy of radio station. Good one. So let's move forward. And in today's fast-paced world, how can individuals reconnect with their bodies to enhance their well-being and cope with change more effectively?
So many different ways, but for me, the things that really work for me and the people I work with, it's almost there's almost a denial to a degree of the power that can come from
Mhm.
working on yourself, getting to understand yourself, getting to face the things that are deep inside, that are running us to such a strong degree that we seldom want to go and ever look at them. The one step for me would be personal development. Go to a coach, go to a psychologist, go somewhere where someone can mirror you and push you
Mm.
to go deep into you and understand you. Because unless you get rid of the root cause, you're always going to be suffering the effect.
Mm.
Secondly, meditation, breath work, body work, something to keep your emotional system strong, your physical system strong, and your mental system strong. And the mental part, I would say, watch how much social media you take in, because the news, more than ever, is a big influence on the amount of anxiety and fear we induce, especially if you aren't able to regulate that yourself. Then it can easily become the thing that regulates you. So from the emotional component, work with somebody. Get somebody to point out the things that you cannot see or the ego refuses to see. From the physical perspective, get outdoors. Grounding is so powerful, Naveen, barefoot
Yeah.
outside in nature. We don't ground anymore. And then from the mental perspective, watch what you take in. Because what you take in has a huge influence on the way it programs your nervous system.
Yeah. Got it. Got it. And let's move forward. So there are certain projected fears, right, which have been manifested in our lives. So can you elaborate on how these projected fears manifest in our lives and how healing and self-awareness can help address and overcome these fears?
Well, a lot of fear comes up in the way we aren't able to take responsibility for emotion. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever we're angry, whenever we have an addiction, whenever we have dysregulation in our body, a lot of that stems from the fear that's sitting within, that more often than not is implanted in
Yeah.
childhood. And maybe a lot of people don't want to go and have a look at that, because maybe it can be really disturbing, even though it's the most liberating thing to do. But when that's not taken care of, then you
Mm-hmm.
see it in our relationships is the number one indicator of where you are internally, how
Yeah.
you relate to your loved
Mm-hmm.
ones, your kids, outside of you on the road. You
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of how the external environment will trigger what is happening on the internal environment. And the more we're dysregulated, the more we don't take care of that fear, the more we're going to need external things to somehow pacify the anger and the fear. So that's where you see our distractions are so powerful nowadays. We're easily distracted. This is an avoidance from the pain and the fear that's stirring inside. I don't
Yeah.
want to feel it. I know how to feel it. So I'll have another glass of wine. I'll have another scroll on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch another series on Netflix. Not that any of those things are wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
they become a big distraction from the anger that we hold inside.
Okay. So let's move forward. And you are into coaching, personal development, training, and I'm just curious how this training and development play a role in fostering self-awareness and empowering individuals in their healing journey. So does training really help as a layman?
More than anything you could ever do. I don't know if there's anything more powerful than actually getting to understand yourself, getting to learn how to regulate your nervous system, getting to understand how your body is functioning. Because anything else you do outside of that is only going to provide temporary relief, because
Mm-hmm.
the fittest people still get sick, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just about the body. It's not just about physical training.
Yeah.
I'm not an advocate for personal training physically. I think it's a lovely thing to do. I think there's great professionals out there. I take care of my body myself.
Mm-hmm.
But the component, Naveen, I focus on the most, and in my experience, is probably the most fundamental, is the
Yeah.
emotional component, because that is the sun that drives the rest of the universe, right?
Mm.
We talk about the body, mind, and soul, and everything else around us.
And Lindsay, for the benefit of our audience, of course, I'm going to publish your credentials in terms of your LinkedIn profile as well as website. But what is the best way for our audience to reach you at?
LinkedIn, Instagram, directly, WhatsApp. I'm very accessible. I'm very open to supporting, sharing, discussing. My heart is wide open to bring the world. So
perfect. Thank you so much.
Even to be challenged on my views and my experience, because it's the only way I go. I'm not stuck in the mindset that this is the only way. I love feedback. I love a different perspective, and I'm happy to absorb that and consider that. And so dialogue is powerful.
Yeah, I get it, and thank you so much for those details. And this has been fascinating conversation, and it was kind of enlightening and enriching as well. So it's the time for us to add some more spice, some more excitement. With your consent, I'm going to bring in the second rapid fire round with a set of intriguing questions. If you are ready, let's dive in. Great.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. And if you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say, Lindsay?
Get a coach.
Get a coach. Awesome. And what's one thing that you are really bad at that you wish you were good or better at?
Marketing.
And can you describe yourself in just one word?
Open-hearted.
Open-hearted, yeah. Somehow I get that sense by looking at you, and I have seen those vibes when I'm talking to you. And what's your favorite thing about living in the current times, the 21st century?
Oh, that's a powerful one. Oh, the current times in the 21st century, our ability to connect. We have
the way we connected.
Look, I just met a lovely guy living in India, and I'm in Luxembourg. So in the old days, I would never have got to know you. So our ability to connect.
Yeah, and on this note, I would like to acknowledge the good work matchmaker.fm guys are doing. So I found your profile on matchmaker.fm, and I was really enthused the kind of good work that you are doing, and there was no second thought, and I reached out to you. That's how it happened.
I'm so grateful, and I do agree with them as well. The platform is really, really great.
Yeah, and here comes my next bullet out of the rapid fire. Do you believe in past life?
Yes.
Okay, what do you think you were in the past life?
A healer. It just feels natural for me now. So I think there's something already there.
Good.
I'm getting better at it because it's new now, but inside it's my calling, my purpose. It feels like something that energizes me.
Wonderful. And let's fire the last bullet out of rapid fire round. One of my interesting questions. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you would like to see or invent yourself?
I would invent a gadget that helps people instantly remain. I would invent a gadget that instantly regulates people's nervous system. Because once we limit people's fear, we have a lot more healing, peace, connection, love. It's the lack of regulation that causes us to have animosity, and you see what's happening with that kind of animosity around the world, right? We start fighting each other, and I don't agree with that. So I do the coaching fast track. I'd create an app that creates what I do fast track, even though there's no fast track now, but I would have something that's just like, here we go.
So guys, whoever is watching this episode or listening, right, there is a fantastic idea. And please reach out to Lindsay for more details on an app which is going to regulate somebody's emotions and regulate somebody's feelings, so that there is no need for artificial healing, and everything can be in control. So that's a great thought, Lindsay. On that note, let's flip back to the mainstream. And here comes my one more question. In your extensive experience and passion for healing and personal development, what is one profound piece of advice you would like to leave our audience with? A step that they can take today to begin their journey towards inner peace and a fulfilling life.
There's nothing more rewarding in this life you can do for yourself and for humanity than to understand your own fear, your own anger, your own pain. And the fear of the unknown is greater than the known. So we stay in our comfort zone because we get comfortable in the discomfort. But I would encourage anyone listening to this, and I wish for the world, that we would go into the unknown in us to discover what we don't know about ourselves, because then we can become more self-empowered, and you develop you emanate a certain strength and peace and love that nothing outside of you will ever bring, no matter how much goodness, no matter how much material things you acquire. If you cultivate it from here, you'll limit the amount of enemies you perceive outside, and the anger and the pain starts dissipating.
Super. Fabulous advice. And thank you so much, Lindsay. And before I let you go, please share with our audience, how is your experience being hosted on The Guiding Voice?
I loved it. It's very, I'm regulating my own emotions, because you come with a lot of energy, and I love it. And I thank you for being so bold and wanting to bring a different message. I see a lot of influencers bringing a certain message that I don't resonate with, but it does. We can implant things into people, right? The power of thought, of intention, and you doing this is so admirable, and I encourage you to keep going. If you need me again, I'd be happy. We can dialogue next time. But don't stop, and believe me, the power of influence and planting a seed is more profound than you'd ever imagine. So keep going, and I admire you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the kind words and all the support, and definitely I'm going to call you back on the show, and we'll do a few more episodes for sure, Lindsay. And really appreciate you taking time and sharing all the amazing insights with the TGV community. Really appreciate it. So it was pleasure hosting Lindsay. And friends, that was our episode with Lindsay Whitby. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. In case if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast from wherever you are tuned in from, because subscribing keeps you updated on the new episodes. And also, if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like The Guiding Voice. Spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. So now let's hop into the trivia segment. So today we had an amazing speaker from Luxembourg. So let's talk about Luxembourg. And I'm bringing you 3 fascinating facts about Luxembourg. The first one is, it is a global financial hub. Luxembourg is renowned as a global financial center and a prominent hub for investment funds. And the country is home to numerous international banks as well as financial institutions, making it a vital player in the global finance sector. And the second fact is that it has multilingual and multicultural society. Luxembourg is known for its linguistic and cultural diversity, and 3 official languages are spoken in the country: Luxembourgish, French, and German. And this reflects its rich history and a blend of cultural influences. And the third fact is about highest GDP per capita in the world. Luxembourg consistently ranks among the top countries globally in terms of GDP per capita. And its strong economy is driven by a thriving financial sector, steel industry, and a strategic location at the heart of the Europe. And folks, if you know any other interesting facts related to Luxembourg, or anything related to healing, mind-body connection, or anything that makes us a better individual, please comment it. If you are watching it on YouTube, you can comment directly there. Or if you have found this episode on any other social media platform, leave your comment there. I am going to definitely review them in future. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome community. We would love to hear from you. So do not hesitate to share your ideas and feedback through our social media, or you can email us also at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. And let's create content that resonates with you. I'm your host Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner, and my goal is to have impactful conversations that improve not only your life but also your career. And until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the future holds great things because the best is yet to come. And goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care.